Well, hello everyone. It is a Friday, the 10th of November, 2023. I am Delbridge in uniform with Benchmark Realty. And I am coming to you live from Studio K when I recorded this. And we've got some good but fairly short show for you today. Now, I have my little helmet cam out here. And as far as NCAAF, we have the Tennessee Volunteers versus Missouri. Mizzou. And I think that Mizzou is a 1.5 point underdog and it's in Missouri. So that might actually be an upset for the Volunteers. But with football, if there's one thing I've learned is I don't know nothing about no football. So anyway, other than that, who's Bama playing? I knew it earlier today because I looked. Playing, is that Kentucky? Yes, Kentucky. We're playing Kentucky tomorrow. So that'll be a pretty good game. It kind of splits loyalties. Of course, I always go with Bama first, but I like to see the underdogs win. And I do like Mr. Stoops, Coach Stoops, there in Kentucky, head coach Stoops, because I like the way he presents himself. I like his deportment. I like his demeanor. I like his style. And I appreciate the people in Kentucky building on. Of course, I think North Carolina had a pretty good showing earlier this year. And let's get on over to the show so we can get this thing rocking and rolling. Now, this is from Market Watch. I thought I would bring you some good news. And I have the headline up here. So Market Watch, just the main page. You can't say, I guess I got that. No, I got that showing for you. Market Watch, main page. Dow up nearly 400 points as U.S. stocks bounce back from inflation fears. Now, last week, I think we talked about the little bit of that negative side that people try so hard just to only be positive. And, you can't have a north side of a magnet without a south side of a magnet. No monopole magnets. And unfortunately, most of rational thinking has both positive and negative thoughts. And unfortunately, when Chairman Powell came out and didn't raise the rates as was expected, all the baked-in mortgage rates, all the providers had to kind of easing on up there, getting ready for that next quarter point. Didn't show up. They dropped it, and everybody said hallelujah, but they started to turn around and kind of creep back up. We have a lot of negative news in the news, economic-wise, particularly in the area of credit cards. Hit a new high this week, and we are looking at increasing defaults on those. However, I looked at Fred today, which is the Federal Reserve's economic data, and it looks like charge-off rates for all other things are looking pretty good. So I don't really have a date for this, do we? But it is the new system here, or the new news of today. And what it says, 5-day chart, you see we were getting kind of low ahead of that meeting, and lo and behold, we jumped up pretty good because the stock market likes to see a robust economy. Now, I think, as I've told you in the previous episode, we do have a higher, twice what we were expecting for the GDP. And in response, the Atlanta Fed's watcher there on the GDP Now, I think they've renamed it, has cut the fourth quarter to like 1.2%, which is still positive. And if we believe the economic theory, we must have a recession to bring down inflation. Of course, nobody wants a recession, but it'd been nice if we had a recession. If we have to have a recession, it would have been good to have it a year ago before we got these rates this high. Now, talks about up here, it says tech stocks are breaking out, defying bears and signaling a year-end strength, an analyst says. So this Dow stock went from the worst to the first, and we can pick that up if we want. Powell says Fed is weary of head fakes, because quite honestly, they keep signaling there's more rate hikes coming. So you know what you need to do. We need to get on this while we have some people who are pessimistic before everybody decides to jump back there, jump back in, and start buying houses. We've gotten a little bit better inventory. We'll see when we get to our end of the episode numbers like we always do. And anyway, I just want to read it. I don't want to really get into that particular article beyond showing you that little chart. A lot of people like to see a chart come up, and you see we're just kind of coming back to where we already were back at the head of November, but we are moving in the right direction. Sometimes that's what matters most, is moving in the right direction. We can see the numbers. Dow up 1.15, crypto, futures, rates. We can hit any of these. I'm not a big fan of crypto. If you like this content, please go to CallDelToSell.com, find the tab that says on YouTube, click it, and it'll open up a page of QR codes. There you can use a smartphone to scan and get to the YouTube page, or you can just mouse over and click it on a PC. There you'll be able to subscribe to this little button over here and click the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you when each Friday's blog has been uploaded. Thank you. We can see the numbers. Dow up 1.15, crypto, futures, rates. We can hit any of these. I'm not a big fan of crypto. We can look at that. I've had people at Mike's place tell me we're waiting for crypto to bottom out. And you realize that crypto really doesn't have any value. It's people speculating on a valueless thing. But hey, if they play the game, as long as we all play the same rules, we got that going. Europe, I saw, was down. I thought I saw that that housing was down in Europe. We're not in Europe, but that's not a good harbinger right there. But then we're not under the same systems. So go back to the U.S. So we got some green up there. Looks good. So we have Dow at 1.5, 1.15, 1.56 on the Standard & Poor's. Then the NASDAQ, the over-the-counters. We have good looks like we have pretty good volume on that. Was up 2%, a little over 2%. Let's hit that other thing. I want to point this out here. It says, how D.R. Horton beat the housing bust. The reason I want to bring that up to you is I had an old broker of mine once told me when we were talking about so many people saying that we could never have another bust like 2008. I said, well, certainly not for the same reason, but you know, anytime you say can't, the fates out there in the woods, the fairy fates, are going to make it happen just because you never say never. Now, I hope we don't have the same thing because we still have high demands, but with the skyrocketing rates, it can be a problem for some very late home buyers, because we did have a pretty good run up to it. So if you've been in your home for several years, you might be locked into a 2.75 or 3% loan, but you're not likely to go underwater. But what my broker told me specifically about D.R. Horton was, he said D.R. Horton was the first to react before the 2008 crash. They said they were the first to adjust. And what it's saying, because we really can't go into everything here, we'll be up here all night. It says the home builder met rising demand from buyers unable to find an affordable existing home and offered buyers temporary relief from steep mortgage rates. Well, they were giving a little bit of something back to the people to at least get them into the house, get them started, and that really is a big thing. And you know, we had the 321s and the things of that nature. I started to go into some zero down FHA and some FHA loans hit that day, but we just don't have time to do all that. Hello, I'm Delbridge of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel, Call Del to Sell. That's one L and Del, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout and then call me and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today. All right, let's get these numbers knocked out. Last week, 11/3/23, we had 20,146 opportunities, and that went down a little bit over the preceding period. We had 3329 in the under contract still showing. That also dipped down just a tad, but the integer value remained the same at 17% for 3 weeks now. This week, 11/10/23, we had 20,552 in the opportunities. That went up slightly, not a lot. 3300 was the under contract still showing. That went down just a little bit, and the integer level, it tipped to downwards towards 16%. So we see that we're headed fairly steady, although we get a little weekly ups and downs. We're still fairly steady, and we'll probably remain so in our little area, our little MSA area. So we appreciate you watching. Have a good, safe Saturday, and let's hope nobody gets hurt on the gridiron tomorrow. Appreciate you.